So, I feel like I'm finally getting back into anime. Lately, probably since 2020, I feel like I've been kind of bored with it, especially after a few of my favorite titles ended. Which is weird for me to hear myself admit because I've been watching anime since I was 5. But being one of those Toonami After School and Episode 3, Part 7 out of 12 on YouTube anime fans, I like to think that I just have high standards. It's crazy how, although anime has become super accessible these days, which is totally kid me's dream come true, I don't like a lot of the new titles. And I feel like I've become pickier. However, one of the few perks of being an adult is spending my adult money on things like streaming services and attending cons regularly. And thank goodness for my fellow otakus at con, because you guys have introduced me to new and old titles that I originally scoffed at that are actually good. During the summer, Dead Dead Demons Dandadan Destruction totally pulled me back into anime. I enjoyed that anime so much to the point that I went out and bought and read the manga too. And it truly inspired me to embrace my inner otaku and properly give these new titles a chance and see what else is out there that I like. This season, there have been a ton of new anime, a few that I've seen the community hyping up, and I'm proud to report that I have successfully started a watch list and have actually committed to watching these series every week. So in this video, we're going to take a look at my watch list and talk about my impressions of each series so far. Most of these series have been out a while, however I won't totally spoil the anime for you guys in case you guys haven't watched it and become interested in adding them to your personal watch list. But brace yourself for vague spoilers anyways, because for some titles I'll talk about the characters and the little things I notice. I'm listing the anime from least to most enjoyable in my opinion, and feel free to like, share, and comment below on your opinions of each of these anime too. I would also appreciate more suggestions of anime you guys think I should add to the list. Just remember that these are my opinions. We all have different tastes in anime, and that's okay. And it's okay if you have a difference in opinion about these anime, let it out in the comments, but please be respectful. So, to start out our watch list, making this my least favorite out of the group, is Uzamaki. After the first episode, I was actually excited. I think the first episode was a really good introduction to the series. You meet the main character in her town that is being haunted by spirals. I like the art style resembling the manga, and I was familiar with the creepy stories. I too have that giant manga. And I really wanted to see how it was executed. Now, I'm vaguely aware of the drama going on behind the scenes with the production companies of Uzumaki, so you'll have to do your own research to find out what exactly happened, but you can totally tell that there was something broken going on. The pacing of this adaptation got really weird after the first episode, and so did the animation. I felt like they were trying to prioritize showing us the big crazy moments that half of the fandom's t-shirts already spoil, instead of developing the story for us to become invested in and follow. And even the animation, which was what I really liked about the series, started to dip in quality unexpectedly. Now, I hate short series, and Uzumaki is only 4 episodes. I can't really speak on the finale because I admit I kind of tuned out halfway through episode 3. So next is Ranma 1/2, or is it Rama half? Rama 1/2? 1/2? Anyways, although I was always aware of this manga and anime as a kid, I never gave it a try. Maybe because I was super young and I could tell that it was totally inappropriate and I was not about to risk my anime privileges. Anime being anime, I was already skating on thin ice. I knew it was cousins with Inuyasha by the art style, but something about the boys switching genders wasn't enough to entice me. However, I'm glad I gave the reboot a try. I really like it so far. Ranma half, 1/2, half, whatever, is about a boy who turns into a girl when he's dunked in cold water. He turns back into a boy when the water is hot. He's engaged to a girl who's obsessed with martial arts like he is, but the two refuse to get along because their families are pressuring them to get married. Naturally, this all takes place in high school, weird, and there are hijinks and mishaps, so I'm assuming ultimately they'll realize their love for fighting will turn into love for each other. You know, a trope as old as time. I'm guessing this is not anything to take too seriously, just something to enjoy the ride and see who ends up with who. like School Rumble, one of my favorites. Judging by the opening, I'm assuming a lot of different characters are going to join the cast, which I look forward to. Love the art style. And for a romantic comedy, I guess it's kind of funny. I don't see why all the guys like Akane. She's kind of eh. But I do appreciate the English voice acting. I don't care what you guys say. I love watching the dubs. And you know, it's nice to go into something completely blind with zero expectations. So next we have Dragon Ball Daima, which I was so against since the announcement of this anime, since it triggered my Dragon Ball GT PTSD. I don't like the whole making Goku young again plot. Why can't we just move on? I get he's the Pikachu of the franchise and the fanboys would riot if the story ever continued without him being the front and center. But I mean, Gohan is right there. The only reason this anime isn't dead last on my list, making it the least favorite of my current watch list, is because episode 1 got me kind of hyped, not gonna lie. So the Supreme Kai we all know from the Buu saga has extended family in the demon world with their own hierarchy and such. In the first episode, his brother along with the slug clown looking thing, who apparently is the new king, pull out their DBZ DVDs and are watching a recap of the Majin Buu saga on Dragon Ball Z. That saga was one of the most stressful DBZ sagas of my entire life as a fan. I watched it in real time, and somewhere at my parents' house I have it recorded on VHS. Watching these characters watch the highlights of it brought back so many emotions. I remember the feelings I felt with the reunion of dead Goku right before the tournament, and the shock I had when everyone turned into candy later. We got one of the coldest Gohan fights during that season. And of course, the frustration of Majin Buu evolving like 7 times. Seeing all of that in the first episode of the series played on my millennial nostalgia and tricked me into becoming hyped for this series. And I guess so far, I have nothing to complain about. Except the whole being kids thing. After seeing Goku and the Z Fighters, Z Warriors, I forget their nickname, destroy their opponents in the Buu saga, the Demon King and Supreme Kai's brother decide to steal the Dragon Balls and make a stupid wish to make Goku and all his friends children again. The idea that Goku won't be a problem and stand in the way of all their planned tyranny if he's a child is hilarious. And that's why I'm always telling people to watch Dragon Ball, my favorite arc of the series. I did laugh when Shenron only gave them one wish, and when they asked why, because Goku and them got more than one, he basically said, I don't know you like that. Newbies only get one. But yeah, I guess they didn't think Trunks, Goten, and Pan and them were strong enough to carry this series on their own, which is too bad. But at this point, I think I just need to come to terms with the Dragon Ball franchise being Goku-centered forever. But yeah, animation was good. I'm still questioning the plot, but we'll see. Up next is 365 Days to the Wedding. You know, sometimes I like it, sometimes I'm snoring. I appreciate and prefer anime about adults, and with the synopsis I remember reading prior to the debut of this series, I think I might have had different expectations for the series, which is why I feel kind of mixed. But I'm gonna just take it episode by episode and see where it goes. So we have 2 co-workers who are pretty introverted and work for a travel agency. Sounds terrible. Their company decides to open a branch in Alaska, but will only recruit single employees to relocate. Side note, I think it was Siberia in the manga, but the anime changed it to Alaska, which, sorry Alaska. I don't really know much about Alaska except for there's a time of the year where it's like super dark, like majority of the day. But anyways, that alone caught my interest because since becoming an adult in the corporate world, I've noticed how you're treated so differently by colleagues and the company in general when you aren't married. Society, especially in particular work environments, seems to see married people as more responsible and have more respect for their lives in general compared to a single person, which is crazy bias and so annoying. So I thought the anime would lean more towards that, but I think I'm also having mature shoujo expectations, while this is just another romantic comedy, and light on the comedy. So the colleagues fake an engagement to avoid being relocated, and it's turning into a typical will they won't they with 2 very mild personalities. And no shade to their personalities, I actually like them, kinda. They're both pretty introverted with their own interests. She likes to travel, and he likes to stay at home and play with his cat. And it's interesting seeing themselves force a fake engagement to keep their lives. So, I don't know, the last 2 episodes I watched were kind of meh. So, fingers crossed they add some spice to it and this turns around. Dandadan, 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 dandadan. What you've all been waiting for, and smacked right in the middle of my watch list. Imagine that. The entire anime community is raving. I mean, screaming, crying, shitting, and throwing up all at once over this particular anime. The hype is crazy. And of course, after I saw that CreepyNuts was doing the intro, I added it to my watch list immediately. I mean, say less. Thing is, I don't think I love this anime as much as you all do. And it sucks because I want to be on the hype train too. I'll start with what I do like, the opening. The animation in the opening says right away, we know we're that girl and we're going for anime of the year, suck on it. And I admit, it's visually amazing and so is the show. I already know everyone will be cosplaying these characters heavy at con. However, I haven't been sold on the characters and plot just yet. And that could easily change as I continue to watch more episodes of the anime. But there's something I can't quite place my finger on that is off-putting and makes me feel like I need to wash my hands, so bear with me. From the first episode especially, my spidey senses were tingling. We see Momo, the female teenage protagonist, get into a fight with her ex-boyfriend, ending with her being kicked to the ground, and then later in that same episode, she's tied up in a chair and... that whole scene just made me beyond uncomfortable. It was very off-putting to say the least. And yes, this is a mature anime, and anime on its own is known to cross the line. I'm not new here. But it's even weirder when the characters are teenagers. And yeah, I know Okarun loses his dong for a while, so it's not like they're just picking on Momo. I just think as a woman, that whole setup of harvesting her banana organ was visually jarring and triggering. Ugh. And it's like they made it even more uncomfortable with her lack of attire in that position. Like, ugh, why? That scene being included in the introduction of this series for me was really repulsive, and although I heard some people claim that nothing like that happens again in the series, I'm a little nervous. Now, I'm hearing a lot of people say that it's romance and the chemistry between the characters is one of the best parts of the anime. I don't really see the chemistry yet, but I look forward to the romance. The characters, they're just okay. I mean, Momo is sassy, bold, and pretty, and Okarun is bullied, maybe introverted, silly in a dorky way, and kind of a nerd. I think a lot of people, mainly boys, find their dynamic so appealing because they're an otaku weeb version of the vampire guy with the no personality girl romance trope that girls love so much. The badass girl with the nerdy boy. I think that a lot of guys see themselves in Okarun and really like the idea of a girl like Momo taking interest in them. And that's why people rave on and on about their relationship and chemistry being so great. Or something like that. Although I do recognize that they are trying to make Momo and Okarun equals on the fighting aspect, and I see that they are both main characters. The anime seems intended for the male gaze, especially after we meet Momo's grandma, who looks like a hypersexualized 30-something-year-old. Hopefully there's a reason for this and we find out later, but it's kind of weird as a woman to see anime avoid age and maturity when it comes to women. Because most of the time when we do have women who are aged and mature, it is demonized, and quite literally. Yeah, the fights are visually stunning. Do they make sense? No. I actually like the pacing, so no complaints there. I do really like Okarun's transformation to a depressed badass. I wish that was his human personality, honestly. I think that would make their chemistry a little bit more likable or believable for me. But yeah, as of episode 4, I don't see the hype just yet. And too much about the anime concerns me. But I see there will be new characters popping up soon, and I look forward to that. So, we'll see. Maybe I'm just a late bloomer when it comes to Dandadan. So relax, don't bite off my teats, I'ma let them cook. So I guess I'm a hypocrite. While I just finished dragging Dandadan for being intended for the male gaze, this next anime right above it on my list is very much intended for the female gaze. But oh well, Yakuza Fiancé is a love story about a sheltered girl who is essentially a Yakuza princess who becomes engaged to a man chosen by her retired Yakuza grandfather who is sadistic, violent, and slightly unhinged, and son of another powerful Yakuza family in efforts to make peace between the two. I like this anime a lot, and I think it has a lot of potential. I like imperfect characters, and her fiance is straight up insane. She is a little on the bland side, but it's understandable due to her being sheltered. I like how she flipped her personality on him. While at the beginning he pretends to be a nice guy, she can see through his crazy eyes that something is off. Then later, finally after the mask drops, he tells her she's boring and to call off the engagement and go back home. Instead of doing that, she sells her kidney and flips her entire personality and starts bullying him, which makes him fall in love with her. And you know, as an Aries, that kind of toxicity is what I like in my anime. So consider me seated. It's a mature anime, but unfortunately the characters are both high school seniors, which is a miss. Just round them up to college at least. I hope it becomes a reverse harem situation. Based on the last episode I watched, I feel like that might be the direction we're going. But I hope they don't fumble the characters and the potential love triangles or octagons, whatever comes. The animation is kind of weird, but the tattoos on the guy's back totally make up for it. So, speaking of weird animation, this may be my most controversial take, but I like this anime a lot. Although it teeters on the line and makes me feel like I need to call the cops. This anime is so humorous, and although the art style is just as crazy as the script, it totally appeals to me and I really enjoy my time watching it. So, Murai in Love is another anime where I wish they would just age everyone up and put them in college. We have this kid, a 17-year-old, who is in love with his 24-year-old teacher, and he's serious, like devoted to her, seriously plans to marry her to the point where he changes his appearance to resemble this AI character she's obsessed with. The teacher is an otaku who doesn't like dating outside of her video games seriously at all. She only becomes a teacher to pay her bills and buy games, which felt. And for the most part, she keeps rejecting her student and reminding him how his feelings are completely inappropriate and jail is very real. But you know anime, they always have to be creepy, and slowly you can see their relationship kind of changing while still keeping boundaries, thank God. And I hate to admit it, but it's kind of cute. We get a backstory revealing why he's obsessed with his teacher, although it doesn't make the situation any less weird, honestly. And the anime does a really good job with the side characters. They bring a lot to the story. I like how they present rivals their own age, who you can root for, and it's just so silly and fun to watch. I especially love the theme song, and the outro too. I just feel bad for liking this anime so much because of the student-teacher thing. That's so gross. Like, what do these writers have against college? I feel like a college setting would improve the story. I feel the same way with My Hero Academia. It can still be just as funny and awkward with less illegalness. But I'm really curious to see how this story ends. Are they gonna try to, be together after he turns 18? That's still weird. I could never date someone so much younger than me. Even guys who are a year younger than me, I'm looking at them like, ugh, I could be your mother. Maybe not, because it is completely one-sided with him being the pursuer and she's kind of floating through life, playing these character AI dating sim games. I just need this kid to turn 18 and get out of her class because age gaps like this and high school teacher relationships will never be palatable. If I could nominate any anime for Anime of the Year, aside from Dead Dead Demons The Destruction, and only looking at fall anime on its own, it would most likely be the anime that is at the top of my list, and I'm only 4 episodes in. Orb, The Movement of the Earth, is in a league of its own. This anime being produced by Madhouse was only the first clue that I was going to like it. Visually, this anime is incredible. But the story so far is so compelling and bold with a powerful message. It's truly unlike any anime on this list. I love historical fiction. It's one of my favorite genres. And Orb takes place in fictional 15th century Poland where the teachings of the church are absolute. Those who go against the church or think outside the box are branded as heretics and face torture, prosecution, and even death. In episode 1, we meet our protagonist, Rafal, who I call in my head Raphael, who has been given an opportunity of going to university because he's a little genius. He's also super fake and pretends to go along with society and their beliefs so that he can live an easy life. To please everyone, he plans on studying theology in university, but his true interests are in the stars. Rafal has a hobby of stargazing and tracking the movement of the Earth. He's taught in school that the Earth is at the center of the universe and all the planets and sun revolves around it. This contradicts Rafal's beliefs after he learns more about astronomy, especially after he meets a reformed heretic who passes on his theories to Rafal after they nearly get him killed, which in turn inspires Rafal to question society even more. And that's all I'm going to say about this plot because I don't want to spoil it. Out of all the anime on my list, I recommend Orb the most. If you haven't watched it, you are seriously missing out. This anime is smart, and I can't even elaborate on the characters without spoiling it, but their contribution to the story is fantastic. This anime pulled the rug from under me a couple times. I was in complete shock after episode 2 or 3, like I did not see that coming. The storytelling is amazing. I will warn you though, the anime is kind of brutal. I couldn't watch the very first scene of the man getting tortured by his fingernails being ripped off by the Inquisitor, but it sets the stage immediately by letting you know the risks of pursuing knowledge and going against the church in this time period. But yup, that's my fall watch list. What do you guys think? I'm sorry I'm not as crazy about Dandadan as so many of you are, but respectfully, I would like to hear your takes and impression on it as well as the other anime mentioned in the comments, without spoiling it, of course. I do plan on adding that Magical Girl Inc. anime to the list. That looks fun and something I'd like. And maybe Blue Box, since you guys can't seem to shut up about it. I just don't like sports anime, so we'll see. But thanks again for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave additional anime recommendations in the comment sections. I appreciate it in advance. Bye!